All right, that was a little bit of a hassle, and we're very sorry that the wrong link was sent to you. Um, it is something we have to straighten out on our end. When you see the ongoing link that says from 1 to 13, that's the one to use. The other, um, some of you have received an incorrect link, and I was there myself. It took me to a place where no one was, and I'm very sorry about that. But as one of my friends said, in all seriousness, he said, I appear to be here. Well, so do I. I appear to be here. And, but this will be a little different because Tuya will not be doing it. And therefore, there will not be music, um, at least not at the moment. But I will do my best to um, bring some thoughts forward. So I do hope that you can hear me now, and I know I'm gasping just a bit here because of this sort of lung condition that I have, and I just apologize for that ahead of time. You know, I'm not dying at the computer here. It's just a little bit irritating when you hear somebody, breathing heavier than they should. So, okay. I think I'll just get right into it. And I do want to say that there is insufficient appreciation on the part of hundreds of millions, maybe even billions of people of the critical situation in which we find ourselves. It is, at least in our time, maybe if we go back to Lemuria and the volcanic destruction of Lemuria, we might have something similar. And if we go back to the Great Flood, well, even then, whole areas, whole land masses remained quite functional. Even the United States, or what is now the United States, was considered, says the Tibetan, as the central point in the old Atlantean civilization. And so, as far as we know, there was not any sinking of the land mass that we now identify with the United States and Canada, maybe various floods here and there. But now, friends, if we can somehow grasp it, the entire planet is threatened. All the kingdoms of nature in the usual sense and humanity itself if we do not stop mindlessly contributing to the worsening of an initiatory process which is underway. We cannot help, let us say, the earth changes which will take place. For instance, in California, as it is predicted, um, when the California islands are referred to, there will be dramatic earth changes, and they will, but they will be manageable. They are under the control of the Manu, and he knows how to calibrate what is done. But we are mindless about these things, and because we are worsening the situation far beyond what needs, what is inevitable. So a new sense of responsibility has to come about for us. And right now, among many non-thinkers, that sense of responsibility is lacking. Declarations are being made. Tuya came up with the figures the other night about the number of degrees that can be tolerated that are caused by man, and so far we're not making the goal. Think about that for just a moment as part of your meditative appraisal of the situation. It all seems so remote from us. Something like this has never happened before, to the great extent that it appears to be happening now. The need to start all over again. And that's what DK says. Should Shambhala have to intervene in some kind of war within humanity, we would have to, in a way, press the reset button, and as DK tells us, to see whether there might not be raised up a type of humanity that would actually obey the God-given laws as they had a chance to do. I mean, those possibilities are so far beyond the pale of anything that we have experienced ever, or even experienced in remote times, that they're hard to grasp. But think just for a moment. what if that should happen? Now, please don't think that because I live in a safe country that I won't be touched. This is not that possibility, that dire possibility which DK says can be envisioned. Everyone is touched. Is it my concern, or simply the concern of the people who have gathered for the Glasgow uh, conference? Well, we might say, it is profoundly my concern. There's just certain things we're not going to be able to stop because they are part of the initiatory changes through which our planet is passing. But we don't have to worsen them beyond the point of no return, so that all of the elements, the earth and its quaking, the ocean and its flooding, the fires and their burning, and the winds and their howling, so they don't get out of total control. Because the great lords in Shambhala, Manu, Christ, Mahachohan, and in this case especially the Manu, they can handle those things. But we're taking it too far. Now this is in a way very privileged information. How many people are attending carefully to the enlightened and highly organized teaching of a great master? Well, you can imagine not too many. And what are we going to do with the information that comes to us? Now, I think tomorrow Tuya is planning to talk about some of the things that are being done of a positive nature and the promising developments which are most encouraging, because the human being is resourceful, but also there is great personal lower ego type of selfishness that does not care as long as temporal power is preserved. So yes, it is our task, definitely our task as members of the, potentially so at least, of the new group of world servers, And when we think of all the tasks we have for other and lesser things, our karmic liabilities, what we owe to the people who are in our care and so forth. Well, those are demanding tasks, but do we somehow register that working internally um, to counteract what can be planetary disaster and certainly disaster for humanity and the lower kingdoms, do we consider that type of work as important as the kind of work which is karmically demanded? That you will have to answer for yourself. It's quite a beautiful place there in Glasgow where this meeting is taking place, and we have to invest our powers of meditation and imagination and invocation of helpful angels, the great ones and their helpers. Because many influences are present in this meeting, some of them selfish and negative and very nationalistic, and others which are benevolent and progressive, and they are all vying for the assent, the agreement of those who have gathered. Imagine being a senator of the lower ego type of persuasion and say, I just don't know why President Biden took so many people to the big conference, which is useless anyway. It's going to cost a lot. See, the sense of values is totally upside down. That's what we have to ponder on. Our sense of values at this critical time. Can our spirit be with the young people who somehow are among those who see the clearest? They may be discounted because they appear to have no power. But as Tuya was showing us the other day, a tipping point, a point of no return, can soon be reached unless we take present opportunities. And the young people, they do see that. So many of them do, if they have not fallen under the sway of selfishness. We have to, in order not to think about this, in order not to fall off the cliff, we have to reduce the number of greenhouse gases and carbon particles per unit of space, whatever unit is being used, and that will run right into the values, if you can call them that, of the selfish group that wants power above all things. Many people think about this, consider this conference to be, and the action that could be taken, consider this conference to be the last chance not to fall off the planetary cliff. We know that, as I read the other day on page 699 of Externalization of the Hierarchy, we know that eventually, how soon, we don't know, the masters, their initiates, their disciples will be consulted by the local governments. These concentrations of knowers will exist in the 5 planetary centers, and we know, or we can trust DK on this, that their opinion will be regarded as of immense value. And we might kind of wonder if secretly some such consultations are already occurring. We don't know who may be the initiates that are present at the conference. And, I say to myself, I surely hope so, because that will be a way through for us if the suggestions offered are acted upon. One doesn't have to run around and say, the masters said this, the master said that. It can be, what they say can simply be, for the time being, offered as ideas that will work. So I guess in our meditation, let's somehow convince ourselves, hard to do, but somehow convince ourselves that we are at a kind of last chance moment. If dire um, results, absolutely dire, are to be evaded, avoided, of course, humanity tends to learn the hard way. Let's hope we have the foresight. Yes, so yeah, it was very good last night. Friends, your mantrams, very beautiful. Thoughts in those mantrams to be used to help to persuade and influence and convince those in power. And tomorrow we will have well, something happened here. You shouldn't. Uh, I hope I haven't lost everything here. Certainly the picture is gone, and that's not what I was, not what I was hoping. Michael, can you help me get that back?
Did you close that window or?
The mouse fell off the mouse stand, and I looked up, and there we are.
Um, okay. Oh, I see. So you're actually you had dragged it, so there should be a green border around the.
My
Are you
wife
able to?
is my
Are you
wife is coming to the rescue.
are you able to see the green border around that box?
I see the green border around. Um,
If you drag the green border or back around the PowerPoint like that,
well, that's because Tuya's here doing it.
right? But you could see what she's doing. She just drags the green bounding box around the.
Hmm. Good. Thank you. Well, anyway, sorry for the interruption, but tomorrow we will discuss the progress that appears to be in process. Um, right now, I don't have the mentality, I think, to follow out the techniques. And I'm just going to widen that a little bit. So here's the image that we tend to use. Imagine 200 countries, roughly. Now, some of those countries are already in conditions of grave concern. They're being overcome by the waters, by the floods. They are, in a sense, disappearing from what they were before. They have good reason to be there. That will be the case for everybody. The purpose, our purpose, if we can conceive it, is to help that grouping of people, well-intended people, by and large, to negotiate, to resolve issues left hanging when the 2015 Paris Climate Accord was forged. Obviously, there's a lot of work remaining to be done, and many selfish governmental sectors working hard against even participating in these events. We have to, our process to find the ways, the positive ways of keeping global temperatures from rising by more than 1.5 degrees Celsius, which is 2.7 Fahrenheit. We're closer to falling off the cliff than we have realized. Now, let's realize in our thoughts that there will be a formless demand, not very well organized, going up to try to bring relief. But more is expected of us. A true invocation is expected of us. The planned spiritual orientation of convinced aspirants and disciples, this is expected of us. And as DK tells us, by all who are forming the new group of world servers, if we can number ourselves there. We are just little groups, but we have to train others and train ourselves to continue with the powerful, esoterically inclined work that really does impress the thoughts of the major figures at the conference and those accompanying them who are doing strenuous negotiation. Be convinced that we have our role to play. To that end, our work with triangles will help to organize the archetypal level above the outer plane. And when the ethers are in the proper condition, then the outer results will follow, and vice versa. If there's chaos in the ethers, then, well, there will be chaos upon the physical plane, as has been often the case in the last 2,000 years, roughly, since the sixth ray governing that period does not care very much about outer order. So every day our triangles work, and then sometimes together is a work which must go on for the salvation of the planet. And we have to learn how to raise solar plexus energy, which characterizes so much of humanity, and even the average aspirant and sometimes the disciple, raise it to the heart, where solutions can be found. This will mean responsiveness to the great indigo synthetic ray, which people are only learning how to deal with. In a way, it's the ray of the Christ and the ray of the hierarchy, the ray of the heart. The ray where, on the wings of which, life is found. One of the problems now, think about it, is rampant distrust within governments and organizations. People somehow know themselves, and they project upon others their own willingness to cheat and to take advantage of the other. And so they project upon the other the same tendencies that are in themselves. But in a conference like this, can we pause and think of great trust and co-workership pervading the entire conference, so something can really get done? I must admit, it doesn't inspire too much trust to see China and Russia, huge countries in terms of their territory and, in the case of China, population, not attending. Because they know they will be called out for worsening the problem, or at least ignoring serious aspects of it, like the release of methane in Russia. And I guess the same is true for China, but for different reasons. They don't want to be embarrassed, and they don't really care enough about the planet. Think of it. How short-sighted are we? Are we thinking ahead to the welfare of billions of people? The future humanity, which of course is also who we are as well. I'm afraid that happened again. If
Michael,
it isn't, yeah,
do you see the green border?
yeah, yeah.
You can drag the green border around the picture in the center of the PowerPoint.
The PowerPoint is gone.
Okay, just click the up top arrow where it says home, the arrow backwards next to the search.
I don't. Every Here comes Tuya. I'm sorry that I don't have the best setup here, and occasionally things fall. Um, it's a question of, getting older. Question of having glasses to be able to see the screen. And I see this thing called home, but yeah. So I just want to explain to people that my particular setup at the moment is not the best. And if for some reason the mouse takes a plunge, then this is what happens. Um,
Is Tuya there?
yep, now she is with
What?
it's farther down, right there. That's it, the pink one. Yeah, I will have to ask her how she did this. I haven't got time to determine that right now. So anyway, the elevation to the heart center, and then we elevate the heart energy to the head center, which has master control centers within it, and we try in our meditation to hold our consciousness steadily in the light of the soul. And we do this from the group as well. And we radiate that love and trust and belief to the members that are there assembled. And in the light of the Triangles Network, we offer ourselves to the soul for cooperation. And we offer our group to the group soul for a cooperation. And we offer our group to the Christ who, in a way, oversees and supervises all of this. We try to realize how big a process it really is, extending all the way. We can't go there, but we can receive some impression, extending all the way to the council chamber of Shambhala, with the three Buddhas of activity assisting Sanat Kumara in this phase of their sacrificial journey. We've been told that in dire emergency, these three Buddhas can intervene just as the Lords of Liberation intervened 100 years ago, not quite, but at the midpoint of World War II, um, some 80 years ago, and rescued humanity basically because they were invoked to do so. So we have our gratitude here. But maybe our greatest immediate gratitude is to the Christ himself. And so we say the mantra with which we have become familiar. We have gathered in your name, Lord Maitreya. Be with us, be within us. We want to make the presence of the great Lord very real to us. Now it looks like we've been working with some Sabian symbols, which are part of an ancient treasure trove of Chaldean astrological knowledge. It might be 500,000 years old. And we have here a path through woods, brilliant with multicolored splendor. And the keynote, the exalted feeling of a work well done and a truly consummated life. But I think we can see the application to the conference. Work well done. I'm not going to get into the whole reading of that brilliant astrologer, Dane Rudyard, but the word that he comes up with at the end is transfiguration. Now, this is something that quite a few will experience during the Aquarian Age and even more during the impending age of Capricorn. It's a kind of spiritual consummation. I guess if the people gathered can go towards the salvation of humanity, it is indeed work well done. And a kind of triumph that you would expect in Scorpio. Test, trial, and triumph. So, considering how important this is, this conference for all of humanity, we visualize that our inner work has started to create a magnetic point of invocation. And imaginatively, we create a field of contact with the soul of humanity. Probably your heart center will be involved in this, and also the heart within the head center, the great head center. And we begin to see, at least imaginatively, the guardian angels who support the work of the Christ. We begin to see them in relation to the conference place. And we see the conference pervaded by the inspiration of the great synthetic indigo light. From the Christ and from the hierarchy. We see the many subsidiary angels shining ones released into the conference environs, influencing with the power of their own type of expression how the decisions are made. so that the success of the conference is not just a matter of some people gathered to do good for the planet and humanity and the kingdoms, but is well supported by the angelic kingdoms and by the Christ as the director of hierarchy. And you've come up with some beautiful mantras. Let's use them now. Let's use them now as we attempt to add our influence to a right outcome of this last chance meeting. Because what you did last night, um, that creative process, is meant to be used. And this image portrays the growing light within the conference headquarters. We don't just need theory, we need the experience of light among the major attendees and among the negotiators. And we, as part of our support, we visualize incredibly good results that will come out of this COP26. have to continue, of course, after the conference is dismissed. Maybe that's when the really nitty-gritty work begins. Now, to support the whole process, we have the divine plan in encapsulated in the great invocation, the 1945 version. And you can say it aloud, but of course on mute, and or silently to yourself. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into the minds of men. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into the hearts of men. May Christ return to earth. From the center where the will of God is known, let purpose guide the little wills of men, the purpose which the masters know and serve. From the center, which we call the race of men, let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. Oh, friends, continue to use the beautiful mantrams that you have devised. I'm sorry for my clumsiness here. Um, I've got a lot going on, and if something falls, uh, I'm afraid I get a little lost. So, but Tuya and Michael, they know what to do, and they will teach me. So, great appreciation for your attendance. Use your mantrams. Use your triangles. Um, Study intently. Apply everything outwardly as best you can so that the outer life shows signs of alignment with the divine plan. Of course, the plan is known in many ways, some of them very advanced. We're not going to attempt to know those particular attributes and aspects of the plan. We can do something. And this will be put up on Makara and also on our YouTube usual Go Live channel. By now, I think you know what that is or should have a copy of it, and we'll do our best not to provide you with double links so you wonder where you are, as I did today when I pressed the link for the 9th instead of the ongoing link of 1 to 13, and it was lonely there. And I hope that some of you got back to where we were actually doing the work. So we'll continue with our schedule, and tomorrow is Wednesday, and we will have another vigil, I think, and also maybe another thing. I don't want to go looking for it right now. Yeah. And as I say, I'm trying to provide you with commentary, video commentary on telepathy and the etheric vehicle. Michael, some of those are already up. BL's done a great job with that, and there's another way that Michael and I are going to put up those programs. So if you've already experienced a program on telepathy, you can just ignore the new way that's going up. But there will be, we're going to give you all the uh, 21 programs so far, and that's just the beginning. So many blessings from Tuya, the emergency helper, and from me, and from all the communications team. And I'm happy to see your um, yeah, I think I'm going on a bit too long. Tuya tells me I better stop talking now. Okay, and I will. So, we'll be seeing you soon. And let's see, all I have to do is turn off the recording, which I will do. Thank you for your kind thoughts, and recording going off.